So today we're reviewing
The Conjuring.
And just to start out this review, you're going to notice I sound like crap. You sound better than you did. We're kind of fighting off cold, so I just wanted to point that out. I'm going to sound like an idiot, but we're going to get through this. This is our series leading up to The Nun. We're going to watch this week, so we're going to review all the movies in the universe.
And we're going to review these in order of when they came out, not in order of like this timeline in this universe. Because if we were to do that, I think most of the movies keep going back and back in time. Honestly, to where you would basically just it'd just be too hard to do. And it's just we're just gonna go off of when these movies came out, what date, or what year. And the first one that came out in this series, this universe, was The Conjuring back in 2013. And for me personally, I did not see this movie in the theater, but I have seen this movie all the way through on DVD probably a couple times now. When did you see it the first time?
I mean, I remember seeing part of it at someone's house, and then I watched it. Actually, I think we watched it at the house. It was actually daylight the first time we watched it.
Yeah,
I remember that. But this is definitely a great horror movie. This is, I want to say, Insidious is still better. But
they're pretty close to each other.
It's the same director. James Wan directed this, and he's clearly one of the best directors out there for horror movies. And there's definitely a lot of scary moments, a lot of, a lot of suspense, a lot of good scares, creepy atmosphere, good acting. That's a lot of the main things for me.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you just said. I feel like it's also just a movie that did have some jump scares, but it was the first one that didn't do that many cheap jump scares. Like, that's why, and there's a lot of the scariest scenes in this movie were just, like, they were quiet. Like, yeah, there was a sound, I guess, but that's just to feel the movie. I don't know the word exactly. The setting was really good for this movie. It just felt like it was an older time, the older house. Yeah. Like, it was kind of like, I don't think it was in the country. It was kind of out by itself somewhere. Just, the house was really creepy the first time you get there. And as the story goes along, I just think the setting was really good for this movie, and also the acting was perfect. I feel like I have no complaints with the acting. The kids, that's the thing you'll learn in this universe is there's kids in each one except for I guess one of them, but the kid acting for the most part in this universe is really good. Like, that's never taken me out of the movie. Like, they've done a really good job with that, and I think that also helps the horror element just because like we're kids. You think of the movie as a kid. I mean, even as adults, but just the fact that the demons usually target a kid most of the time, even though I guess this movie, they target an adult. But I guess these are going to be quicker reviews since these movies already came out. This isn't like a full, like, spoiler, non-spoiler. This is spoilers, obviously. Yeah.
Let me start with some of the good scares.
Yeah, just start your, I guess, most memorable moments.
I mean, the one, I was just thinking back, obviously there's the dresser scene where the demon's on top of the dresser. It's obviously a scary scene. But the scarier one to me is when what is her name? The main girl...
The mom?
No, the girl is actually solving the cases. What's her name? Warren?
It's Ed and Lorraine.
Lorraine is in, like, this crawl space, and she holds up, like, the toy and sees the reflection, but that's not the scariest part to me. The scariest part is when you see the feet of someone hanging. No. And that's just really always creepy to me. I mean, you just see the hanging person.
You see it before the sound even happens. So
yeah, it's for some reason that just scared the crap out of me. And I don't like, you see feet hanging in another scene. That's just certain stuff like that. It's totally quiet. You don't need a sound effect, but it's really scary. Yeah. And that was the most memorable one for me.
Yeah, I feel like the scariest scene for me was probably the dresser scene, just because before that moment they've had the little, I forget which one it was. I don't think it was the littlest girl. It was one of the middle ones. Kept walking towards that dresser. Yeah. And finally, like, you had to realize something was going on there, and the fact that when the camera just shoots up and you see it's actually the demon itself. It's not in the mom at that moment, but it just jumps down. I feel like another one that really is close was, honestly, you don't even see the demon at all. The little girl sees, well, she gets pulled out of her bed a couple of times, but then she looks behind the door in a dark space that you don't actually see. And just the fact that you can tell that she actually sees something and the little other girl next to her doesn't see it. For some reason, that just was really scary to me because you're just waiting for something to actually, like, pop out. I don't think you see anything in that moment.
You don't. That's the other thing. That's the thing that James Wan does good. He did good in Insidious. I'm going to try not to point that out every time, but in Insidious, there's moments where you have to imagine something. You imagine the demon up at the ceiling. In that part, you get to imagine just something standing back there, and like how creepy that is. And, like seeing it, it wouldn't be as scary, but you can imagine it is a lot scarier. But why don't we just get into our
just overall, it's just probably one of my favorite, or probably one of the best horror films ever, really in our time. Just for the setting, the acting, the demon itself is really scary. Like at the end when they're actually doing the exorcism, when the mom's face turns from her to the demon's face when he says her name. That's just that whole scene where she's chasing the girl underneath the house. It's kind of pretty scary.
And I just remembered one other scene. It's when they're at Ed and Lorraine's house.
Oh yeah,
and you see
that. Well,
Annabelle.
This picture here,
you see this creepy just person with weird hair. It's the demon sitting in the rocking chair, and you see her holding Annabelle. And that scene where the little girl's trying to get out of the room, that's just the scariest thing to me. And you see she's gone. Like, nothing even really pops out there, but that's just really scary to me because you feel bad for the character, and she's, like, trying to get out, and you don't know where this thing is. That's really
taking forever
creepy.
to help her out there.
Yeah, the grandma wasn't doing it, but that was the scariest
scene.
Scene to me.
That scene actually will come back to in a movie in this series coming later. I feel like I'm going to mention it if I remember it. Yeah. But yeah, for me, I mean, for a horror film, not only for horror, but just for a film in general, I'd have to give this movie honestly a 10 out of 10. I mean, there's I can't think of any negatives, to be honest. I mean,
I can't think of
great
any
horror. There might have been a couple cheap jump scares, but not to the extreme of some terrible horror films that are just fake jump scare after fake jump scare.
I don't really think of any.
The music I think was really good. Then also James Wan, you probably already know this if you know what I'm talking about, is he's famous for like one of his trademarks is doing a single shot like into a house or just around the entire scene. They do it in both Conjurings that have came out, I know for sure. I think they even did it in Annabelle Creation. But just that kind of stuff is really cool, and yeah, for me this is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd have to give this a 10 out of 10 as well, because it is really good. It's up there with Insidious as the best horror movies ever, and it's really effective, great acting, great scares, and the great moments where you don't need a jump scare, because you just have a good moment, scary moment without any sounds. And that's what I really like about this movie. And, yeah. So, make sure you let us know down below what you think about the Conjuring movie. And
so thanks. This is like I said. This is kind of like the Jurassic series. It's kind of and also just like the event before Avengers: Infinity War. This is just like quick series of movies that have already came out in this universe, leading up to the Nun movie, which is coming out this week. And so thanks for watching our Conjuring review, and we will see you guys in the next movie review. Bye, guys.